Alright, now this one we're going to do our complex rational expressions. Complex fraction contains more than one fraction, okay? Think of something divided by something, a fraction divided by a fraction, okay? There's two ways to kind of solve these things, and these are all examples. See how this one is a fraction over a fraction? It's the most common one. You can see a mixed number over something, that's another one. Then then a fraction over a mixed number. So you can see a combination of all of them. Okay. There's two ways to do these type of problems. Okay. Number one is you can find the LCD of the top and the bottom numbers, okay, and multiply through by them. This should cancel the denominators of both your fractions, and then you could get one single fraction. Not the most popular way, but it works a lot of times if you can find the LCD very easily. Alrighty. One thing you got to do though is if you have something like 2 1/3, you got to make sure you write it as 7/3. Remember, just convert it by going 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Okay, so like this one right here, if I do 1/5 divided by 9/10, the LCD is 10. Multiply there through, that's 2. Cancel, cancel, and that's 2 9. It's pretty easy. Okay. By the way, this is Samus. Okay, Metroid, first female heroine. Awesome. Okay, method 2 is the one I like to use, which is, remember a fraction is really quotient of two things, okay? This means the top number is getting divided by the bottom number. Alright, so if I look at it, it's 1/5 divided by 9/10. This is just fractional division, which we did earlier. So all I gotta do is copy, change, flip, 1/5 times 10/9. And then you just do our standard of what we had before, which is 2/9, okay? Right. If I have something like this, you always turn proper fractions proper fractions, which is 7/3 divided by 7. I'll copy, change, flip. Oops, like the 7. You can see it's 1/3. No, and there's all the work to it there. Same thing. Okay. Again, if I wanted to, what was my common denominator? It was 7, so you just multiply it by 7, or sorry, it was 3, right? So if you do that, you get 7/21, which is 1/3. All right, so the ones we're going to look at is complex rational expressions. All right, so to do these type of problems, I'm going to think of it as, alrighty, let's get it as a fraction divided by a fraction, okay, and simplify. Now, there's one catch, okay? You have to combine the numerators and denominators into one fraction, okay? See how this is one fraction and this isn't one fraction, it's like a fraction minus number, and these are two fractions. It has to be a fraction divided by a fraction. So a lot of times we're going to have to add or subtract our denominators, or numerators and denominators separately. We're going to literally simplify them into one fraction. So like this one right here, if I take this one, get a common denominator at 16, multiply this one by 16/16, that's one fraction. The bottom here is 8 and 2, so its common denominator is 8. So I multiply this one by 4, so I get x minus 4/8. Now you can see it's this thing divided by this thing. And how do we solve these? Copy, change, flip. Back to our original methods all the way back in the day is factor out and cancel tops to bottoms. And you can see that these cancel one another out, and that gives you the 2 there in our final answer. Okay, so I'm going to use method 2 into doing this. By the way, if you have multiple terms, where one of them is a singleton, like here, like it's just n plus 1/n, the LCD is always just the number that's missing. So you just multiply through by n/n. This one needs a b, so you multiply through by the b. Okay, all right, let's get some practice down. For this one, I'm literally going to write 3/7 divided by 4/7. Copy, change, flip. 3/7 times 7/4. See how it flips? Cancel out 3/4. All right. By the way, if your LCD was 7, just multiply 7s and they cancel out, you get 3/4 as well. Over here, I'm going to make this one a single fraction. In order to flip, you have to make this a single fraction. One of the most common mistakes is when you do division, is if you don't put it together right away, people write this x² / 16 - 1, and then to do division of this, they multiply by the reciprocal, 8/x minus 2/1, which is not true. Okay, you have to do common fraction, one fraction first. Okay, so this has to be 1 and that has to be 1. You cannot just flip because you feel like it. Okay, that's an FYI. So like here we couldn't we just take a look at m plus 1 over m. Its common denominator is m, so multiply this by m over m. That's m squared plus 1 over m. And this is getting divided by what number? Well, what's the bottom? 4. Well, m squared plus 1 over m times the reciprocal, which is 1/4. And you just get m squared plus 1 over 4m. Not much you can really do with that problem, so you're going to have to deal with it that way. All right, this is a prime example of people wanting to write it as this and then flip. Okay, you can't. You have to make this one fraction. So what's your common denominator for this one? Well, it's just d over, it's just d, so you got to multiply this by d over d. So you get d squared minus 1 over d. And it's still getting divided by d minus 1. Okay? I like to put that in parentheses sometimes. Got to do copy, change, flip. D minus 1 times the reciprocal d over d squared minus 1. And now it's d minus 1 times d over d plus 1, d minus 1. Okay? Difference of squares. You get d over d plus 1. Okay? Not too bad. Just pay attention. Look what you got to do. Okay? And you're all set. Alright, let's keep it going. This one right here, let's put this together. Well, what's the LCD between that? Well, it's just x. So I'm going to multiply this by x over x. X times 1 is x over x minus 2 over x, which is just x minus 2 over x. This one right over here needs an x squared. So that's x squared over x squared. The second one's already got it. Over x squared. So that's all getting divided by x squared minus 4 over x squared. Copy as division, x squared. Now do copy, minus 2 over x. Change, flip, x squared over x plus x squared minus 4. This factors over here on the right, so you just copy that still, times x squared, x plus 2, x minus 2. Now cancel like terms. That's gone. Square cancels with that. We have 1 over x plus 2. Okay, a little more work, but we can do it. Over here you can see we have a situation where all I got to do is find the top out. I'm going to multiply it by x over x. So I get x minus 1 over x. And the bottom is already as a fraction, so I don't have to do anything. So I do copy as division. So write that as x minus 1 over x divided by 1 minus x squared over x. Copy, change, flip, and then factor x minus 1 over x times x. It's the difference of squares. 1 plus x, 1 minus x. It's easy to see the x's cancel. Now I gotta take a look at this. This is pretty close. It's actually almost the same as this, but all the signs are switched. If you actually factor out a -1, it changes the signs on these. If you look, that's the same thing there. So they do cancel out. Whenever they're opposite signs, they just cancel by a -1. Believe it or not, we still have a 1 on the top and a -1 plus x. Now most people will write this as -1 over 1 plus x. And that's fine too. Or some people write a big negative out in front of it to get that one. Alright, we're doing well. Let's go to the next one. Okay, I have y over 3 plus 3 over y, 1/3 plus 1, or 1/3 plus 1 over y. LCD at the top, 3y. So if we do that one, this one needs a 3 on it, this one needs a y on it. Well, y times y is y squared, 3 times 3 is plus 9. Okay, combining them at once. See, I'm trying to do a little faster. 3y at the bottom. The bottom here is LCD is 3y as well. So this one needs a y on it. And this one needs a 3 on it. Alright, so the bottom, it's y over 3y plus 3 over 3y, which is y plus 3 over 3y. So there I am showing all that out. Well, just write it as y plus 3 over 3y. Copy, change, or as division, write it as division. Sorry, I'm stepping ahead of myself. But now you can see we're going to flip the second one. Y squared plus 9 over 3y times 3y over y plus 3. We should be able to see those cancel one another out. However, this is not the difference of squares. Can't do anything. You're going to have just y squared plus 9 over y plus 3. Biggest mistake people do is they're like, oh, I'm going to go like this. Oh, there's a y there. Cancel that out, and I get 3. I get y plus 3. And that is a no, okay? Can't cancel terms out. You have to keep them as singletons, okay? These are linked together. They can't be pulled apart. That's why we factor them. It's the only way you can pull them apart. So you have to be very careful. Okay, we have a couple more to go. Let's see what we can do. This one over here, it's just 1 over w minus 4. Its LCD is w, so I'm going to put a w on it. That's 1 minus 4w over w. The bottom is just 4w minus 1. It's really 1 minus 4w over w divided by 4w over minus 1. Well, slap it over 1, copy, change, flip. These cancel. They're off by a negative sign. And you get 1 over w, but it's negative.